Hey, X here. Let's talk about success for a minute. The keys to success are integrity, always learning. Hey, everybody. Welcome to episode 4, Being Notorious and Branding. I'm going to start off today in my Gemini mode. I don't know how long we'll have this pattern going, but it's working now. So I'm going to, that's what I'm starting off in. Going to start off with some memes that I ran across on Facebook that are relevant to last stuff from the last episode. So I want to get to those. The first one is stop trying to calm the storm. Calm yourself. The storm will pass. And, of course, you remember in the last episode we discussed slowing down time in the Matrix and controlling what you can control. And I think that's a good quote or scenario for that situation. And again, let me read it again. Stop trying to calm the storm. Calm yourself. The storm will pass. And storms happen. I mean, that's the kind of the moral of this quote, and it's how you deal with the storms. And the storm is an opportunity. It's the opportunity to learn. It's an find out about yourself. And the second quote is, sometimes you have to slow down to speed up. And I talked about slowing time with things you can control, particularly your dreams, when it's stressful and things are going bad. But in general, sometimes you do have to slow down to speed up, particularly at critical junctions of when you're implementing a plan, for something that you want to do. At some point you need to slow down. You're going to miss key information. And you're going to make mistakes that will cost you time in the future if you don't slow down. And the next side road I want to jump into before we get to the main topic is what I call unstructured school. And what I mean by that is, of course, in the U.S., you have kindergarten, elementary school, middle school / junior high school, and then some go to college, and then graduate school or professional school. Life's a little bit like that. We really don't think of it that way or talk about it. But life, after 18 is still school. You can choose to attend, or you don't have to attend. My advice would be to attend, or life is very difficult. And the way I look at it is that, in your 20s, you're back in elementary school. In your 30s, it's middle school. In your 40s, it's high school. Then your 50s and 60s, that's when you apply the lessons. So it's college and graduate school again. You look at CEOs and presidents, they tend to be in their 50s and 60s. So you kind of repeat, 18 and under after 18. But people don't talk about it. But it really is what happens. I mean, there's no syllabus, there's no textbook. You have to figure it out. But I think the point I'm trying to get across here is you always have to be in a mode of still learning and trying to better yourself. The good thing about this second act of school, so to speak, is that, the grades aren't recorded, so to speak. So it's more fluid, and you can learn, and even family, because you'll have a larger part of your life away from your family, your siblings and your parents and whatnot. So you can correct your mistakes, and nobody knows everything except you. So that's the positive aspect. You know you're going to make a lot of mistakes, but again, it's unstructured school, and it's what you make of it, and it's and life is a life. You know, it's a long learning process. I mean, there's that phrase lifelong learning, and that's really, I believe, how you should approach things. You know, as you move through life. Some people have the mistaken notion that if you're calling a lot of attention to yourself and sort of being notorious and out there all the time and people are talking about you, that's branding. And that's not necessarily branding. I mean, going back to the last episode about Representative Bill Crawford and Congressman Julia Carson, their brand was built very quietly. It was very consistent and steady, but quiet. Um, so no, that's not the case. And the older you get, the more subtle your branding should be. And really, branding is a subtle art anyway. Um, you know, if you're calling attention to yourself, you're probably not doing you're not doing things right, because your reputation should precede you, and you have to be patient because, as I reiterated on the last episode, is branding takes time, and it takes patience to build a strong brand. And as I said in season 2 and 3, I will focus on musicians and branding because they're so good at it. And for the record, I love Lady Gaga and her music, but Lady Gaga is probably not the model to follow when it comes to branding. But she's over the top. It works for her. It works for her as an artist. It's amazing, and she's amazing. But don't take your cues from Lady Gaga. I mean, your branding needs to be a lot more subtle than Lady Gaga. Let me read a quick quote or not a quote, but a point of emphasis that I wrote down. So, being notorious will get you attention, good and bad. You may be seen as too aggressive and wanting to go too fast. People may think you will take all the credit for any accomplishments. So, people are suspicious of those who they deem to be in a hurry and wanting to go up the ladder too fast. And then, when you're young and you're in your 20s, that is pretty common. Um, and we're all familiar with the whiz kids, whether it's Bill Gates or Steve Jobs or Mark Zuckerberg or Michael Jackson. How old was he when he first broke out, or Stevie Wonder? But most of us don't fall in that category, and it behooves us to be patient and take our time and build relationships and build a strong foundation of accomplishments and success that we can call our own, and that others recognize as our own, and and the process giving others the credit for what they put into the shared successes that you have. It's not, being a glory hound is not good. So again, I've touched on this before in the last episode, but patience is key when it comes to branding. I'm going to read now 2 more points of emphasis because I want to make sure they're worded properly because they're important. So the first point I have written is the purpose of building a brand is to build a strong, coherent, stable reputation. That's number 1. Number 2, you build a brand to project confidence, competency, and reliability. 3, trying to be in a hurry or notorious undermines the whole reason for building a brand. So the third point I state undermines those other 2 points. And again, those points, the first 2 points, emphasize that taking your time and being patient is really the only path. Unless you're the gifted 1%. And I'm not talking about wealth. I'm just talking about, the rare folks who really are born with a lot of gifts when they're young. The other 99%, we need to take our time and go through the process and, lay the building blocks and take the time to build a strong brand. Again, reading notes. Seeking notoriety reeks of insecurity. If you are in a hurry, people will be suspicious of you. What's the hurry? Can your ideas and methods stand the test of time? So, really, hurrying and rushing, again, is not a good brand. You're going to make a lot of mistakes, and it's going to be easy for you to be exposed. And I cover that in the next note I write. Rushing into things leads to mistakes. Do your research and homework. Lay the proper groundwork. If you're in a rush, a more experienced person will draw the situation out and expose your lack of discipline, preparation, and confidence. The important word in there, as I've touched on a lot of this other stuff before, is preparation. And if you're rushing, you're not doing the preparation. And preparation is the foundation of consistency. And again, I keep coming back to that word consistency. Preparation is important. I think it's the first time we've kind of dealt with that concept, here in the podcast. But again, that is has finally come up, and I have to emphasize that. And you cannot be chasing, notoriety, and if you're doing preparation, you don't need to be notorious, because your plan and your methods will be tight, and you won't need to to do all the extra stuff. So here I am in my mid 50s, and if I had to do it over again, what would I do? Well, I realize that in your 20s you have a lot of energy, and you want to do everything fast, and it's kind of natural. Um, I think I was pretty good. I mean, you always press, and you get disappointed, I think, when you're young, and you're not as successful as you wanted to be. But you have to have that balance between, if you're not trying and pushing the envelope, then you're not learning. So I guess my kind of tweak, if I could do it over again, would be to not be so hard on myself. That would be my one thing. I was kind of interested in college. I was already in the early 90s pretty political and activist, and was viewed at Purdue University as kind of a militant, by a lot of folks. And just as I speak a lot about race and stuff, now I did it back then. I wouldn't change any of that, obviously, because it's a process, and I'm still doing it, and it's carried on till now. Um, and I pushed the envelope at times, but I've refined it, and I've kept with it, and I think that's kind of what you have to do. I mean, that's one of my passions, and that's what I care about. And so you start early, but I learned early on to you got to be push the envelope, but be wise and prudent, and protect yourself as well. And also, if you are pushing the envelope, and you are taking, every once in a while, take some big swings, and take some bigger risks. But I mean, you got to know, hey, if this doesn't work out, if this goes sideways, I'm okay with that, and take responsibility for that. Don't get bitter and blame other people. I mean, you made the decision to take that big risk, and put yourself out there. So when the world doesn't treat your big risk very well, take it with a grain of salt. And when you take those big risks, I mean, you shouldn't do paralysis of analysis, but you should be cognizant, and thought, this big risk through. I mean, you know what you know at the time, and so use what you know at the time, or right now, and roll with it. But take personal responsibility for your big risks. That's part of learning. That's part of growing. If you don't take responsibility and put the failures as your big risks onto other people, then you're not going to learn the important lessons that will help you down the road, because chances are you're going to continue to press and take on issues, and improving is learning and failing. And finally, your 20s, that's when you move fast. When you hit your 30s and 40s, you can still take big risks. You can still move kind of fast, but you really need to start slowing down. People expect you to have be a little more seasoned and be a little more prepared and have your stuff together and, be a little more reliable. And so if you're in your 30s and 40s and still moving fast and looking helter-skelter, that's not a good thing. So just to wrap things up a little, so why are we talking about building a strong personal brand? Well, confidence, because, confidence opens up a lot of doors, and confident people are prepared, and therefore they're competent and they're reliable. So, those are some of the other, the buzzwords we've touched on in this episode. And going back to what I guess I'll call the second school of life, even if you get a D in some areas, it's still passing. And again, it's not really a recorded grade, so you can always improve, and you'll be tested again on your D's in life, and you're going to get some F's too, but, you get to retake the test. I mean, life is like that. You're probably going to, you fail a test, it'll come again, it'll be slightly different, and eventually, you figure out how to pass these tests, or life goes a little sideways, and you start creating trouble for and problems for yourself. So a little shorter episode, but we'll build on this in the future and other episodes. So the song of the day I think I'm rolling with is off my second album, and it's called The Fountain of Youth, and it's more dealing with this concept of the new school and really your 40s, 50s, and 60s. So enjoy, and I'll see you next episode. Bye. Searching for the fountain of youth. I need to shed these pounds, grow back this hair, get the gray out, I have to care. But there's only a pillar portal to turn back time. Relive my mistakes, I'll make her mine. Yeah. I've learned so much, I need a second chance. If I knew then what I know now, I'll find woman, king of romance. Yeah. the sea, I'd be rolling in dough, living carefree. Yeah. The fountain of youth, the fountain of youth. Everyone is searching for the fountain of youth. Yeah. It's just a fantasy, an illusion of the day. Going back in time is not the way. The past defines the present, from a boy to a man. Mistakes and flaws, I like where I am. Yeah. I made plenty of mistakes, I recognize when I fail. I gotta keep pushing forward, balance the scale. The fact of the matter is that in midlife, you should put lessons learned to use. You should be on top of your game. You should excel. Leave your mark, your zenith. Make your name. Presidents and CEOs happen at 50 and 60. I'm gonna embrace them now. Let God lift me. The fountain of youth, the fountain of youth. Everyone is searching for the fountain of youth. The fountain of youth, the fountain of youth. Everyone is searching for the